Welcome, everyone, to the March 24th, 2025 City of Madison Historic District Board of Review. Brenna, can we have a roll call, please?
Mike Pittman.
Here.
Happy Smith. Bill Jewell.
Present.
Ken McWilliams.
Here.
Ryan Rogers.
Here.
Jared Anderson.
Here.
Jed Skillman.
Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting? Any corrections, additions, suggestions?
I move the minutes be accepted as written.
We have a motion
I second.
and a second.
Mike Pittman.
Approve?
Bill Jewell.
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Ryan Rogers.
Approve.
Jared Anderson.
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Well, welcome, everyone. To give you an idea how the meetings are going to flow, we're going to go through your applications. We have them listed up there on the board. I'll ask you to come up, state your name and address. Brenna will give a brief introduction, and then we'll go into ask you for a brief description of your project, tell us a little bit about it, and then the board will ask if they have any questions or clarifications they would like on your application. And then we'll do it what we call will we still do that, findings of fact?
No.
You will not read through them. You will just state what chapter it's in.
Okay,
And then if anybody needs copies of that, we can give them to you.
and it's also on the website, so. And then after that's done, I'll ask for if they agree or disagree with the findings of fact. And then we'll have some more discussion, and then I'll ask for a motion. And after the motion, a second, we'll vote on the application.
And ask for any input from the audience.
And as my little friend here says here, my
Little helper?
My little helper, I'll ask for any clarifications from the audience, if anyone has any comments or questions or concerns. So with that, we will get started. We have Tom Pritchard, location 822 West 3rd Street.
Oh, my.
Tom Pritchard, are you here? Going once, twice, 3 times.
Move it to the rear.
Okay. The next one is,
This may be him.
are you Tom Pritchard?
Okay.
I didn't think you looked like him. That's okay. The next one is was Donald Ball, 822 West 3rd Street, or excuse me, 822.
No, 709.
That was tabled.
Oh, I'm sorry, 709 Elm Street.
Here we go.
So this one, the applicant has, this needs to be tabled because they need approval from DNR first. So we just need you to make the motion to table it at the applicant's request.
What type of approval from DNR are they going to get?
Floodplain. I believe.
Floodplain?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that correct, Mr. Building Inspector? Very good. Mr. Floodplain Manager, Building Inspector, okay.
I move we table the application for 709 Elm Street till next month's meeting.
I second it.
Okay, we have a second from Bill. Do we have a roll call vote?
1 second. Okay, Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Okay. The next application is from 1014 West First Street, Janine Wise. Give your name and address, please.
What's that?
Name and address, please.
David Wise, Janine's husband, 1014 West First Street.
Okay. Brenda, you will give a brief description?
So, well, this is the one that didn't have the signs.
Okay.
So according to Joe Jenner, we can't hear it at this meeting. It has to
Okay.
go to the next one.
So shall we table?
So do we have to table it?
Yes, the public has to have an opportunity to see that what you're going to do to your house. So that's why we put the signs in the windows to let them know.
So
We in some boards mail out certified mails. We put signs in the windows so people know, and we've been doing that for
So-
several years.
I guess what I would like to do is figure out where I get these signs and who
I've
would,
got
should
them
have.
for you in my office for next month.
And so when was I supposed to get them?
That should have been when you paid, but I was not here when you paid. Did you pay in person? Or did you pay over the phone?
Well, I came in
Okay.
in person a number of times to try to get this on the docket tonight. And somebody didn't exactly follow through.
Well, unfortunately, by law, we cannot hear your application
Okay.
tonight. So
Well,
we'll
I
put it
mean-
on the next meeting docket. Make sure you get your signs from Brenna and get them in your windows. I believe it's 15 days prior to the meeting, isn't it? So it's 15
Yeah, so if you
days.
just hang around after the meeting, I'll grab
Okay.
them for you.
Well, okay, very disappointing, but
Can we have a motion to table his application until the next meeting?
I move that we table the motion
Second.
until next month.
Brenna, can we have a vote, roll call vote?
Who seconded, real quick?
Second.
Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
approve.
Jed Scowen.
Approve.
Mr. Wise, your application was fantastic. It
Okay.
has everything in it I like to see in an application, so
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and once again, I'm new to the process, but I just need people to kind of pay attention to detail and help me out to understand when I need to do things when. And I'll try my best to get it done, but if I don't know about it, I can't get it done.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next application is 745 West Main, Karen Modisette,
Modisette or Mode?
Okay, so this one, this is a contributing structure in the specialty district.
Let her sign in.
Huh?
Let her say,
Oh, I'm sorry.
let her say her name's Karen. Come on.
Introduce
come on.
yourself first.
My name's Karen Modisette. I live at 745 West Main Street. And I couldn't hear a word you said when you were explaining. I
Just-
realized I was in the back row,
Okay,
and
Brent.
I'm old.
Okay, Brent, well, so am I. Brenna's going to explain, brief explanation what you'd like to do, and then we'll hear from you. How about that?
She can do all the talking for all of here.
Brenna, start talking.
Okay, so this is a contributing structure in the specialty district. The home is both a federal and Italianate style house. And the request is to demolish the rear porch and clear that area to decide later.
It's
what will
actually a
go there.
deck.
A deck, okay. And here are the pictures.
Embarrassing so.
Ma'am, are you having problems, structural problems with it? Is it dangerous?
well-
Is that,
It was never really correctly made in the first place. The first time I had a deck done by the lovely Clint Bear, Dave Webster and Chris Kirk, they did an excellent job, but through the years, I've owned the house for 45 years.
Oh.
That needed to be replaced, and when I had it replaced, they did a poor job of it, and it just, part of it's fallen off, and some of the design elements were never correct in the first place, and the center isn't flat. So, that's the story.
And Ms. Modisette, you're going to keep it just open for now?
I want to see what's dead under it. The cats live under there, and something died there at some point. So
Probably.
yes, I'm going to clear the space and then evaluate the structure of the house behind it, which is an addition to the front. The front is a four-room federal-style house, and the back is a frame that was added on to various additions. I don't know exactly when, I think in the 30s and 40s. And, just evaluate the structure without that on there, and then see if I want to do anything additional to it or not.
Well, the building inspector is sitting right behind you. I think he would agree that I can see a major safety issue with those steps coming down. That is pretty dangerous without any type of railing or anything like that on them.
Oh, there was a railing.
There was a railing?
That's why it's not there. It was there
It was,
at one point.
Yeah, that's pretty dangerous. I mean, I won't go into how many steps I've fallen off of, but it can be pretty dangerous, especially the way it sits and it comes down like that, so. Any other comments from the board?
So, Chair, the guidelines only talk about historic porches and decks, and so this is clearly recent, so there's nothing there. Anyone from the audience?
Anyone from the audience have any comments? Okay, findings of fact. Bill, do you agree she needs findings of facts on this?
I sure will, thank you. Having a look at your project, honestly, since we are a non-contributing type of a structure that's added onto your house, which was the old deck or the newer deck, I don't see any reasons whatsoever why this should not be approved. It is pretty basic. I don't think you're doing anything to the history of the house, really, that means anything. So I would like to move that, based on the preceding findings of... Not yet. Okay, I'm
You
getting
want
ahead of
to
myself.
move into motion since
Oh,
we're
I'm
not
sorry.
doing findings of fact?
No, I think everybody needs to agree or disagree
Yes,
with
everybody
Okay.
needs to
Yeah.
agree first.
Okay. All right,
So, Ken, do you agree?
I agree, same reasons.
Jed, do you agree?
Absolutely.
Ryan?
I agree.
Jared?
Yep, I agree.
And I also agree, because it's dangerous.
Okay.
Based upon the preceding findings of fact, I move the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Karen Modisette at 745 West Main to demo her rear deck.
Okay, now, we understand that it could be that way for decades. I may die before anything happens to it.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay, with motion second, roll call vote.
Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Bill Jewell,
Approve?
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve?
Jed Skillman.
Approved.
You will get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail,
Okay.
and considering it's non-contributing, you can start today if you want.
Well, I have to hire somebody, but.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last application is 1030 Park Avenue, Robin Mingione. Did I say that right? Yes, sir. All right. Spent a lot of time in St. Louis. The Italian section of St. Louis, that is.
Gotcha. Robin Mingione, currently reside at 47 Country Manor Boulevard in Madison.
Okay, Brenda, you want to give us a brief description?
Yes, so this house is a contributing structure that was built in 1855. It is zoned HDR, and they are requesting to build a garage on the vacant lot adjacent to the house and replace and enclose the rear second and third floor decks together. And here are our pictures. This is above the front door, and this is the back. And this is the garage.
Of some style. I try to go around and do some like structures that were already downtown to pull for conceptuals.
Have you got a firm site plan yet on where all these structures and changes are going to be?
So the addition to the rear of the actual existing home, we've had Peter Ellis help us do some planning drawings, structural design. And so we're still in that. We just pretty much firmed those up today at 4 o'clock when I got him to give them to me, so that I can get firm quotes, but it will be within that 20 by 27 is that square area of the rear of the house. So it's not going to extend outside of the current perimeter of the home to any of the setbacks or anything. The garage, we're still waiting on the city, street department, and water and sewer, because we have First Street behind us that's been somewhat extended down past us, and our sewer line and gas line were both in the middle of that extension. and we want to put a driveway in there, so we're trying to get those clarifications as to where they are and how to put them back. And then that'll determine where we can put that driveway in, and exactly the setback from north to south that the garage will sit. There is a water meter in the front on the north side of that 1030 and a half Park Avenue, that parcel. And so I met with Rod Kiefer this morning, and we're talking about whether we have to move that water line forward or just put an extension on it. He didn't think it was a problem to do either. It just depends on exactly where we want to put that garage. I would like to set it off and not have to worry about the water meter and moving that. But we got to see how far, where our driveway can go off of First Street, primarily.
Well, you've certainly got a major project here, no question about it.
project.
And I think one of the things we would like to see as a board, though, is a little more definitive where things are going to actually be sitting.
So they'll be within the 3-foot setbacks. I don't have a lot of room there anyways. The garage itself, we were trying to do a 20 by 50. So that'll put me about 5 foot off the actual residence and keep me within the 3 foot off of the east boundary line to have that in there. And then the 50, again, all that's going to do is, I'll be well within the 3 foot off of the 56 because I don't want to back into 56 out of a garage. So I'll have enough, probably 15 to 20 foot off of 56 in the front to bypass that water meter, and have a car length to get out of a building before backing into 56. And on the back side, we have like 50 foot before we're to the property line, even with the 50-foot garage. So we have a lot of variance north-south, but we are, going to be tight within the setbacks required by the rules as is for east-west of the garage. The house itself the addition to the house itself is, we're just replacing what was existing, or what we think was existing. We don't really know and can't really find exactly what was existing yet.
Ms. Mignoni, what we need is exactly what you're going to do. Dimensions, materials, a plan, so you don't have that today.
Are you referring to the garage or to the addition?
The addition, the garage, anything.
Okay, so the garage is going to be a frame-built metal roof, hard siding garage. It's going to have a concrete foundation, concrete walls, concrete poured floor. And we'll have man doors. The front door will be a carriage-style garage door to keep it traditional and to the style. Even though it's a new construction, I'm a real estate agent here.
Okay.
I would prefer things in the historic district stay historic looking that are new construction. So I'm planning on the front elevation of the garage to mirror one of these more traditional carriage houses. And then the rear, I'll probably have a more traditional, regular garage door, 16-foot garage door, and one man door in the garage. The addition to the house, I'm currently would like to do a steel structure similar to the Bennett Marina building, as far as what this support structure will be, and then glass and framed wall on the east side, glass and framing on the south side. Again, we're trying to do, with the steel structure, we would like to do a concrete floor on the main walkout level, and then even a concrete rooftop. So those are the steel. If we get approved for steel, then we can do those things. I can't do those if I'm doing a wood framing.
Could you tell me how the dimensions of your garage again?
20 by 50,
20 by, so it's 50 deep,
20
right?
wide and 50 deep,
Okay.
the length of the parcel.
I'm trying to think now, when I think about looking at your property, I think on the left side is where you're going to put it. That drops off quite a bit. How are you
Yes.
going to handle that?
So it'll be a two-tiered, it'll look from the outside, the roof will be the same across. In the front, I keep hitting this. In the front, it'll be more level with the front street with 56. Then we're going to put a concrete wall in, and you'll have a lower garage in the back. So I don't have to dig out quite as much or add as much fill, because I've got that slope that I have to get down to First Street. So it'll kind of be a two-tiered on the inside, but from the outside, it's going to look like just one consistent roof line.
One of our guidelines is that accessory buildings like this should be recessed back from the main building, so it's not prominent.
Yes,
Were
this
you
one will
planning
be.
on doing that?
Yeah, where the water meter is right now, on that 1030 and a half, it is recessed about 10 foot from the northeast corner of the house already, and I'm going to go back behind it so I don't have to move the water meter.
I see. Well, I think one of the things that we really would like to see is actually how this is plotted out on the plot map of the property,
Okay.
where the actual garage will sit.
Was kind of thinking I sent that in the initial packet, but maybe it was just like an overview, and I
You might
kinda
have sent
dropped
that
it
to
in.
Nicole. I don't think you sent it to me. It might have been for
Maybe I did
the
send it
building
to
permit.
Nicole. There's a lot of permits and a lot of different things required for each one, so I think maybe you're right, I think it was for the actual building permit, I sent that to Nicole, so she already has that. So, but I didn't know that I needed that for the actual historic review side of it, as
Right.
much as for the building side.
Give
of
us
it.
just a second. I think Brian might be looking to see if he has it.
Okay.
I might be in the minority, but I like the concept. My big concern is the garage. In the rules that he's talking about, it states that it should be 1/3 back of the total depth of the building.
Okay,
Do you know whether it's somewhere close to that, or?
so I have to. I have the actual room dimensions of the building somewhere. I think Peter has all of my room, or all the building dimensions.
Let me ask you a couple other questions. The pictures that she showed with the front door, both those had porches. You're just doing a
So
surround, right? You're not
Well,
building a
so-
porch.
there's some question as to what originally was there. We pulled up pictures back to '08,
Uh-huh.
where there's a little bit of remnants of what was there on there. And it's just a facade that was kind of glued on. Like they
Okay.
didn't even attach it well. I have some of it still laying in the front yard. Because there's significant water damage to the foundation that has caused, it's being fixed, but the road, 56 has been raised so much that the water now comes off of 56 and comes straight into that property and goes right into that stone foundation. So we're pouring a concrete pad across the front, starting from the west side of the house, coming out 12 foot, and then running down 3/4 of the house, because I've got another water main, or meter, another water meter. And I'm going to step that porch back, or that patio back to 7 foot to the rest of the length of the house to protect that stone foundation from getting any more moisture damage, and to divert that water back towards the street. And so when I did that, I was kind of wanting to put a little bit more of a porch structure with some federal columns type, not very far out, but far enough out that you're not getting wet if you're standing at the front door.
But you're not asking for approval to build that porch at this point?
That was one of the things that was on the list, yes, was the
Okay.
front elevation, the rear addition, and the garage, plus a stone wall and fence. I was hoping that I could, kind of get everybody to see my vision and understand that it's going to be a process. I'm planning on living in this house with my 2 youngest kids, and I have 2 older boys as well. So to get me downtown that's a feat. I grew up on a farm. But, so I want to do it right. Like I said, I am a real estate agent here in Jefferson County. I do a lot of business downtown Madison. I want to, take care of the integrity of the building and the historic value of the building. But yet, it needs to be modernized. It has it's been vacant as long as I've lived here. I'm 47 years old, so I've never seen anybody live in that house.
Yeah.
Did I have anything more?
Yeah, may I
Sure.
pose this to you guys?
Yep.
If there's the site plan, and, sorry, there's only a couple. This
That's
is
right.
what She did her application.
Bill and I will share one.
That may not be in- Sorry.
And I was unaware of the actual 1/3 of the building, so I don't know if that is exactly within there, but I can make it within there.
So
Out
it's,
of,
it's the front of the building.
out of
It's right
curiosity,
on Main
do
Street,
you
Road
plan on,
56.
and this really isn't part of this, but do you plan on restoring or replacing the front door? When I drove by,
I'm keeping the front door.
okay, awesome.
I'm gonna reverse the way it opens,
Uh-huh.
but I'm keeping the original front door.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. That's an old one.
Yeah,
There are several things that were on the original application that have been moved to staff approval, and that was one of them.
So on the application, it says to build a garage on the vacant lot adjacent to the house and replace the enclosed rear, second and third floor decks together. But we're also talking about a fence. We're talking about a patio up front. We're talking about a porch.
And
So there's
I
a
didn't
lot of
necessarily
holes in
think
this
all things
application.
would get approved today. I kind of was, I'm really hoping, ideally, is that we get the addition moving, because my goal is to be in that house by July. So I'm renting right now, which I don't want to do. So
you have a year, Mom?
we are moving rapidly on the interior. I've been sanding floors for the last week. So, and the addition itself doesn't have to be completed by July for me to live in the house, but I want that ball rolling and all of that in the works, ideally, as quickly as possible. Just for electric, HVAC, and those sort of things to be, added in.
Well, the,
Yeah, go ahead.
kind of the,
It's funny when
feel
you
I
can't
have
tell
about
you're
it-
over here. I apologize.
is, and I surprise myself because your glass enclosed structure there is not something that I would normally favor, but I lived in an area that had a number of old buildings where they had put a modern part on it, and this supposedly will not be seen from the street, right? I mean, this is strictly in the back,
This
it's
is
not
the
going to
back
overlap,
side,
okay?
correct.
But I like that, and, but then as I look at the picture, and you've referenced both of them, the one on the left and the one on the right are not even in the same ballpark. So,
Well, the
What are we-
Bennett building was the only one I could find downtown.
Okay.
That had the steel type structure.
gotcha.
And then an enclosed area above, the parking underneath,
Mhm.
or the patio underneath, and the steel enclosure above. That was the only like type downtown that I could find. To at least say, I'm not the only one that's kind of got a steel with the parking under and the enclosure on the top.
Gotcha. Anyways, as this is presented, I think you got to be a lot more specific.
I guess this is a question for the building inspector. It looks as though if you're going to put the garage next to the house, you'll be building across the lot line. Am I correct? Because you got two lots there.
I think the setbacks still have room, it's only 3-foot setback.
Right, but I mean,
My
let-
goal is to combine the parcels.
you're going to combine the parcels?
Yeah.
You'd
I
have
guess
to.
from my vantage point is, and I don't want to speak for the entire board, but we need some more detail. I mean, it's very difficult. I think from the standpoint, and Jed made a good point, I think the house part, to me, you're not going to change the footprint of the house. So that's a given, that's a fix. What we don't have a good fix on is where the garage is going to go. I don't think you do either yet, do you? Figure out the
Well,
water main.
I'm waiting for the city.
Yeah, so-
There's an issue with.
They're sitting right there.
Well,
But,
he knows.
But I guess from my vantage point, I think if you want, and again, I'll leave it to the rest of the board members here, I think if you want to keep working on the house itself, I don't see an issue with that. I think the
Okay.
ancillary buildings around, we got to get some more detail.
And that's fine, because the garage is going to come after the addition's done, because I have to have access to be able do the addition.
Well, let me ask the rest of the board, what do you guys think?
I mean, I agree, we need more time, so do we have anything to do today? If it's all interior work?
I believe it's interior work, and that can continue. And the back, again, I think the design is interesting. I think it's would be tremendous downtown. I mean, I can see you sitting up there in the third level looking at the river. That'd be very nice, but,
Well, that's actually just, it's a second-story enclosure,
okay.
so it's not.
But I guess from my vantage
really
point,
sitting up there, but yes.
I would like to see us be able to at least talk about the house itself, because do you have any distances on the extension on the back?
They're with the addition is within the house, so it's right now that L shape
The old, you're
is
gonna
a
take,
20 by 27, 20, I'm only doing, there's some concrete that's down there that has been poured as two versions of retaining walls,
Mhm.
and some stone down there on the east side. We're building with inside of that. So it's basically 20, no, you're right. So from here to here is 23 foot. We're gonna be inside of here to the
Mhm.
corner, and then the depth is about 27. So that's the concrete pad that we've already been approved that we can do. And then we're gonna build that structure up off of that. So I've gotta pour proper piers to be able to build that structure off of within that pad. And like I said, we can go back with wood, and I can do decks. That's not what I want, and I don't think that's really gonna add anything great to this building that I think has a ton of potential for downtown Madison.
I guess what I would like to suggest to the board, that we look at the actual house structure itself, as well as the glass and the addition she's got on the side. That would allow her to, would that allow you to at least get done what you need to get done before you can finalize the other?
Yeah.
Other part, what do you guys think? I mean, it's just, I'm throwing it out there.
Do we need clarification on what's happening at the front door, whether it's a porch or just a surround, or?
I think you can come back with that.
I can. I mean,
Okay.
that's a
That's
very
outside.
minimal thing for me
Okay.
to focus on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tackle
I just don't
that.
want to leave you with,
No, the concrete pad was the biggest thing, because I need to stop the water coming in. It's not a significant amount, but when I go to put an HVAC in and closing it up and tightening new windows, I needed it dry in there, so.
Yeah.
So no, I can come back and put that porch front on, I mean, next month, I'll be right back in here. Because I'm not gonna delay my schedule.
Well, yeah, well, and I think that would help us from the standpoint of understanding. I mean, I'm leaving, I mean, I'm trying to make it so she can get moved in. Any of us have done an old house,
yeah.
can appreciate the fact.
And to be fair, I've done new construction. I've built several large custom homes.
Mhm.
I've been general contractor on them. And so I'm not ignorant to the whole process of building. This is a little trickier, obviously, because it's the existing structure, and I have to stay within the integrity of the existing structure. And we're planning on what wasn't done properly by the previous owner 3 times ago or 2 times ago, has done significant damage to the property. So we've got to go back in and put, I'm probably going to put a steel I-beam where he has a wood beam that's fallen. I've got to redo all the brick. We're putting in all new windows, new doors. I'm keeping most of the existing doors that are original doors, but the cheap doors that he put in, I'm replacing those with all good doors.
Looked like all the windows were vinyl, too.
All the windows are vinyl. I'm replacing them with black and black. It will look very similar to the Hen and Ben, as far as I'm going to keep the traditional brick. I'm going to black out the details. So I'm not going to do it bad. If you saw anything that I did, I don't do it bad. I don't cheat or skimp. I do a lot of things myself, though.
I don't know,
So-
what do you guys think? Can we
Well,
agree to?
I've just got a curiosity point. So you mentioned there is no third floor. And does that mean that above the second
So
floor?
if you look at the drawings
Yep.
that Peter Ellis did, you can kind of see within this one here.
Oh, I
Underneath
didn't see that.
is an open patio with
Yep.
stairs.
Mhm.
Then technically first floor, the entry floor, will be open to these rooms. So it'll be open to this room, all these doors, this door will be all open, that's where I have to put the
Yep.
ID.
Gotcha.
And then this will actually, I'm leaving the door, but I'm closing it in. I'm not replacing it with a functioning door. And then this will be open. Upstairs, this will all be a glass wall. Upstairs, it just can be a balcony for these two areas to be able to walk out the stairs coming back down. So,
Okay.
I think it was a balcony before, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
It was a full second story.
Like a French gallery type
like-
of thing.
Yep. So that was kind of what I was going back with.
So this structure is not there?
It is there. It's
It's
gonna
just
be-
an open ceiling?
Yes, like a solarium, very much like this. So when you're
Okay.
sitting there, you're gonna look at two-story windows with a balcony behind you.
Gotcha.
So it's very much just an open two-story room.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Which way is the roof gonna pitch?
So it's gonna come, which there's a drawing there too, and that's the same one, kind of, well,
I guess that's it.
one three-dimensional one kind of shows it. Let me see if I've got another one.
Looks like it's a very low
It's a
pitch.
very, well, like I said, I've got it, I'm trying to price it two ways. One, to be able to put a concrete roof on the top of it. Which, down the road, if I ever sell it, if somebody wanted to put a third story like they have in a lot of the, Nashville, so to speak, there's potential somebody could make that a really cool outdoor third floor space. But if not, it'll probably be just a metal roof with a, slight pitch, not a huge pitch, just to carry the water off.
So in your next submission, Peter did work for me, having put dimensions on all these things for us.
Okay. He gave me some, but they're not quite,
He's got them on, he can just print off, they're already
yeah.
there.
Yeah, he's been working on it. His dad was in a hospital emergency this weekend when he was supposed to be doing it for me, so I can't complain, but, yeah, I don't have exact all the dimensions with, and, to be honest, like that conceptual one, these, this shows it a little clearer, but you don't have that one. He
Yeah, we
printed this
do.
one off for me.
Kind of like,
Yeah,
Too
it's,
dark.
just a two-tone version of it.
Yeah.
But, you can see a little bit more of that detail
so
in there.
that room will not extend beyond the existing
Nope, it's
building?
gonna be squared within the existing footprint.
So it won't be, I think that's the thing from my vantage point. Really, you're working within the footprint of the
Yeah.
building you've got right
Yeah,
now.
I'm not changing any of that at all.
What do you guys think? Can we get her started, at least?
Yeah.
Until we get some more dimensions, and that way we're not going beyond the dimensions that are currently there.
Absolutely not.
Does that make sense, guys?
Well, the
Yes.
addition would be beyond the,
Well, no, there's actually, it looks like there was an addition
There
back there.
was.
Well, it was
like I said, there was
balconies.
kind of a
Balconies?
yeah, they were tore off by Mark
There was
Bricky.
kind of a footer here, and there was a drain, there's actually was a cistern that we built, or in the process of building, there was a drain. My understanding was, this was an enclosed space and a bar at one point in time. The guy 2 doors down told me all stories about it. So there was an actual bar in there, and they pour the drinks in the bar, and they run down this column of concrete, and out the wall it would go.
Ken,
So,
I-
and that concrete, there's a lot of concrete down there already that kind of lends to that have been a possibility, that was all.
I guess what I would like to suggest is that you get us the dimensions of what this addition's gonna be and give them to
I think I did it.
Brian, so we get a good feel for what they
Is that not
are.
on that, what he gave you?
No.
The 20 by 24? No, not that.
How
What
far-
Brian gave you, the site plan?
How far away are you from having plans to submit for your permit? You know, or-
So, well, that's, what he was working on was just, because it's really just a wall and a wall. It's not,
Yeah.
we're not talking a huge.
But he's got to do some structural, especially if that's steel.
So I do have some of those drawings. I've got 2 steel guys doing those that are not That's all they do is steel. Because to be honest, not that I don't trust Peter, I can get a guy who does it every day a little faster than I can get it from Peter to tell me exactly what the load needs to be. So it's a 20-foot span. The I-beams we're looking at come in 40-foot lengths, so that was a reason why I cut it down to 20 instead of going over top of those existing concrete wall that are there and coming straight off of those, so I can cut my costs. So there were 20-foot beams, and it depended on if I wanted to go back with LVLs in the middle and I just wanted to do a steel frame, or if I actually wanted to do steel throughout. So they're trying to get me pricing to figure out exactly, because that would change it. If I was only doing a steel frame and doing LVLs as floor joists and not concrete floor, that's going to change the structure and what I have to build altogether.
Well, let me revise my original statement then. Let's keep it to the house
Yes.
and not starting any new construction outside the footprint of the house. Does that make sense? So that we can
There's
get some more.
nothing to approve, though.
Yeah, there is, but she has to come back with plans and dimensions on the other items before we can.
Right.
So, yeah, if you work with inside the house, which is what Ryan is saying, is you don't need our approval. You can work inside the house
Right.
and get it done. As far as windows, I assume she goes to you?
That's already.
So,
Yeah, the work.
so I mean, you can go ahead and start on the house.
Oh, I already have started on the house.
Dimensions already done for what you're building?
Yeah, it's a 20 by 24. That's what I keep saying. This is 20 by 24.
But we don't know how it's going to fit. In other words, that conceptual, there's nothing on paper that we have in our hands that we can put our hands on and say, that's going to be the size of that addition.
We have one elevation.
We have one elevation and no dimensions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And
We
we can't agree to something that we don't know what it's going to be.
Well, I guess I just don't understand how it could go outside of what is existing there. That's what
You'd
my
be surprised
point
what
is.
people build.
So, okay, so all I have to do is present next time a drawing that it says 20 by 24 and how tall it is.
Well, I
mean,
And your list of materials.
List of materials.
I would assume you'd want to get your garage approved at the same
No.
time, so we need,
no,
the garage is off the.
this is the most important thing for me. So I'm a little surprised that I don't know, I guess I built 6,000 and 8,000 square foot homes, so this little 20 by 24 addition doesn't seem that grand to me, so.
Well, we need to know the dimensions because that's part of our role here is to make sure that if we don't have firm,
20 by 27.
Well,
That's the dimensions
but
inside the house.
it's not gonna matter, they want it on paper from somebody like
Write it down.
Peter.
we need the dimensions so that we're sure that it doesn't extend beyond the home and actual drawings to show what you're going to do. So I know it seems trivial to you,
Well, I just
but
figured
again,
that,
it's
like,
important to us.
I'm assuming there's somebody who comes back and makes sure that it stays within what was presented.
That guy right there.
Yeah, so,
Well,
I-
part of what was required to be submitted, and unfortunately it gets skipped sometimes, is a site plan. The site plan gives us so much more information because we know where everything's located. And that site plan should include your rock wall and your fence. It should include your garage, the addition. The patios are a little bit of a concern to me, but it's flat work, so I'm not too worried about that. But I guess my concern with the patios is how's the portico or porch or whatever you're thinking on the front's going. So where we're at is, we know you're going to do something, and you've got a lot of support for it. I mean, we all seem to like the concept. We just need a little bit more detail to get it approved for you. I don't think it's really going to slow you down, even though it's a month,
well,
because
again,
you're still,
because I don't know if I can, okay, let me ask you this. If I come back with drawings that are more specific in numbers, is steel a material that you guys would approve? Because that's kind of been my headache is will they let me use steel in this type, or do I have to build a wood structure? So that's part of my dilemma here, is coming with you with a
So we
true
said, we don't want you to
material.
build something that looks like your house. Yeah, we don't want you trying to, make that look like house number two. It was always like that. We like that you're doing something original,
Okay.
so.
So, but it's,
We
the
can't-
question is steel an approved material?
It can be.
Okay.
It's structural, correct?
Structural material,
It's
yes.
structural. Ryan, you're our structure guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, there-
it's
there's
contemporary design, but I think it blends
nicely.
the old and the new nicely.
Yeah.
From the rear of the house, to me, driving down, when you see that rear with, it looks industrial. It doesn't look like a home unless you see the front elevation. That's the only time it looks like a home. And many people have asked me if it was an apartment building. So I'm not taking it to that. I'm gonna use it as a single-family residence and keep the front elevation very traditional and very, as it was originally designed, with possibly a little bit of an extension of a porch for rain coverage. But the rear is, if somebody showed me what it was once, I might want to build it back what it once was, but I can't. I called down to the historic board, they don't even have a file on this house that they could find. So I had to go down, I had to give them the names of all the people in the deed so they could start gathering one, which seems odd to me. This house has been vacant that long and nobody's done any research on it. So-
Well, I can let you know, when that sold at auction, the porches were still on it. They were only about 4 foot, and they actually were L-shaped.
So they
and
were
wrapped
more
around.
like a.
Just a
there's-
balcony.
There's no picture, so it was more like a summer porch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, your concept to me is beautiful, so I'm not trying to discourage it. we just need a little more
I'm
detail.
trying to gather as much information as I need, so I don't come back here and have to do it again, and again, and again. So, I kind of feel like them. I want to make sure I have my ducks in a row, and I know exactly what you're expecting me to present, because it's pretty vague when you read through some of this stuff, and every application is redundant in a lot of the same things. So, it's like, who's approving what, who's responsible to approve what. So, I was under the impression it's you guys are to approve a look. Does it fit within the historic? I didn't know you guys were approving what I think is a building permit requirements. So that's my misunderstanding.
Would you be amenable to tabling your
I would.
application until the next meeting?
That would be very, very nice.
I'll accept a motion.
I move we table the application for Robert Mingione at 1030 Park Avenue till the next meeting.
Do you have a second?
Second,
Thank you.
pick one.
Thank you. Well, we got a vote. Roll call vote.
Mike Pittman,
Approved?
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approved.
Brian Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Judd Spellman.
Approve. Is she working with
New business.
No, go back to number one, see if he's here.
Tom Pritchard, are you here?
Nope.
Tom
Okay.
Pritchard, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Until next month. Do we need to table that next month? Did we do, I don't think we did that.
I don't think we table it if they don't show up. I think they have to apply.
Okay.
No,
But
I think we can table it.
We can table it? Okay,
Table it.
sure.
I'll accept a motion to table it.
I'll do my 18th. I move we table the application from Tom Pritchard at 822 and a half West Third.
I second.
We have a motion second?
That was Bill.
Second.
Mike Pittman,
Approved.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Judd Spellman.
Approve.
And now, new business.
Brett, I think we also need to make sure these folks that we've tabled, since a lot of them we've done, they need to redo their signs. So we can get the right date. Okay, now we can do new old business. New old business.
I have new, please.
Oh, well, continue.
Brenda, do you have the Board of Review Administrator Review Guide?
Yes.
And could you bring that up to sidings, please? Wood siding and shingles, 3.0.
Do you want guidelines or do you want the?
No, your
No,
stuff.
okay. Want to start talking again?
So, Mr. Chair, when 3 years ago when we did this and threw a lot of these things onto staff to make these meetings go quicker and shorter. Removal siding, with staff approvals can remove modern material on their own.
Like vinyl and.
That's right, and asphalt covering. And then removal of historic fabric needs to come before the board.
Okay.
And then introduction of siding material, yeah, so just just the next page, Brenda. And if you have to blow it up for everyone, down at the bottom, I think, yeah.
See that?
Yes, that's the first one, and then we'll top of the next page. So just go up another 2 inches, you'll get it. And if you can enlarge, yeah, go down, keep going a little bit more, a little bit more. There we go. So if you can enlarge those 2 signs for the folks. So removal, staff can approve any removal. But I think our intent was, once that's once the asphalt or the vinyl, whatever, is removed from the original siding, that there was going to be a stop, and someone was going to go inspect it and see if that could be saved.
Evaluate the underneath. Yep.
Right. So what I don't want happening is someone coming in with an application to put LP siding on and have it approved by staff. So that we should, like the 3 Troll houses at Second and Poplar, 3 of them have the original, of the 6 have the original siding restored. And 2 of them were just done in the last 4 years. So that's what we need to me.
So for that, you would have to write an amendment to this.
Okay.
You might talk to Happy, she just wrote one, that she'll be presenting at the next meeting.
Yeah, she's doing one on windows. This
Yes.
is mine.
So you might talk to her about how she went about that.
Well, I know how she did about it.
But yeah, you'll just have to write one up and then present it.
Okay, so then the introduction to siding line has to change? Is that what you're saying?
It-
Okay,
That would be what you're suggesting.
all right,
yes.
good. I'll bring that next meeting, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
No, I had something else too. Okay, for the board, I would like to, when someone brings an application for windows, I want, before the application to the board is approved, I want the manufacturer, model number / part number of the windows that we're going to be considering. It's one of the big holes we always have. People want to change windows, and they say, oh yeah, I'll do that, or I'll do this, or I want to do that. We have no idea what they're actually thinking. So, all of us know when someone says, I want to change 10 windows, it's probably the single largest line item of cost, and every contractor scares the hell out of the poor people. Oh, yeah, we can get way cheaper. And, there's no bottom in cost of windows. So so someplace, Brenna, I want your instructions from the board saying, oh, Mr. and Miss McWilliams, we love what you're going to do to the house. What windows are you going to put in? I don't know. Well, then I can't accept your application. Okay? What does that have to look like?
Well, in other words, what you're asking for, Ken, is really
Your mic's
Turn
on.
your mic on. Yeah, there you go.
I think what you're asking for, Ken, is a full-blown bid request that has the actual model number and cost and that type of thing. Or I can tell you in my history that I put in, if you notice on 1014 West First, you notice it says there's vinyl windows in that house. But those are vinyl-clad wood windows. Those are Anderson wood windows.
I knew that.
And I know because I brought in a sample, and Nicole had it in her office, and the board examined it and approved it. So there's nothing wrong with asking the applicant to get a sample and see if they can bring it in, because these window manufacturers do provide their dealers and installers samples. So that's why those were in there. And they were a lot more, well, I won't talk about the expense, but they were not a bargain from Anderson. They were
Yeah,
top of the
I
line.
know, that's what I bought.
Yeah, so I mean, there are good vinyl-clad wood windows, but I think the board needs the opportunity to see the model number, what it is, and plus, I think the guarantee is also important. So,
No, well, that's part of this scam of fiberglass windows. They have lifetime warranty. The guy selling them has only been in business 23 years. Anderson, Pella, Marvin, the basic guys, Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards,
and
are
we,
going to
yeah.
back them.
We have a window salesman on the board now.
I was going to say, I was in the window business for most of my career, and I dealt with historic Washington DC, and I dealt with Old Town Alexandria, just outside of DC. And the way that they
The fish
handled it was, they actually had approved windows. So the window manufacturers would come in, or the dealers, and get their window approved, and then they could be on the list
No, it's not like
of
that.
approved. And if you wanted to go in and with a window that wasn't approved prior to their application, the manufacturer had to do a presentation and have that window added to the approval list.
Sure.
So that might be a way to handle it where we know what we're getting.
Brianna asked me when I first got here if I'd taken any continuing classes. And 2 weeks ago, with one of the HMI classes was on windows, and they had a window expert there, and he was talking about wood windows. They were not clad. And he had sources that are within, not like on the other side of the country, right near in the vicinity, that would make them, and they sounded like reasonable price wood windows, and they went over, what is it, thermally modified, and there was an interesting program on that, and that would be too bad Happy's not here too bad Happy's been gone for a couple of weeks. She would have been at that meeting.
Well, there's good manufacturers such as Sierra Pacific and Marvin that do a wood exterior window.
Oh, they all do.
I think a lot of people just
Anderson
don't
does it.
realize it.
Well, they got in, and then they got into, in this class, storm windows, and different types of storm windows that retain the profile of the building. So like our house is an old house, and the storm windows on that stick out about a half inch from the house. That's not the original profile. And they talked about windows that set back inside I guess you'd call it a well, or,
Jan?
set back a couple of inches so you get the feel of an original type of window there, which we don't have, but they're available now.
So, Mr. Chair, is there consensus that we would like this information on the application or from the board, or, and then
so.
what
I
would the
think-
next step be?
I think that or a bid, from that specifies that, like you said, the model number and
Do we need a motion to,
I don't think so, just have to present the amendment. And
What-
and Ken's
So
gonna
that-
write that up.
That would be included in your amendment.
Okay, that's a separate one. That's not what Happy's talking about, so this is a separate
Right.
thing. Okay, so
Right.
another line. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And one more while I'm on a roll, Mr. Chair.
What times it get dark? Go ahead.
You and I are the only people on the board that sat through an in-service training by Landmarks, Indiana Landmarks, when they came and made a presentation, how's a board supposed to function? I've just thought of this on the way out, in all my free time. Are you interested in asking them to come up and work with all the those
Absolutely.
folks?
I think the more training, the better.
Brendan, can you try to arrange that?
There was also a wonderful presentation done at the Tacoma, Washington, it was a national landmarks meeting a few years ago that was a point counterpoint on applications, and it was very, very good. It's at Tacoma, Washington. I think it was probably 4 years ago, Brent, if we could get that. It's got to be a video somewhere. I'll see if I can dig it up, but it was wonderful.
If you have a title for it, if you'll just
Yeah.
email that to me.
Okay, if I can find it, good luck.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Ken, it's very good.
Anything,
Thank
guys
you.
want me to say anything else?
You're not tired yet? Oh, no, he's not tired yet. Okay, any other new old business? Brenna?
Okay. So staff report for this month, relatively slow month. 2 applicants who are here tonight also got staff approvals. So Karen is removing a sidewalk in her backyard that goes to nowhere and is not original. Angela Howitt down at First Street Saloon. They're replacing their sign because they've slightly changed their name. Elizabeth Oxier, they have one, I believe it's one vinyl window on the east side of 135 East Main that they are replacing with wood to match all the others. And then Robin, who is here tonight, she got approval for the change to her doors and for the pouring of her front step. So there is that. And then last year, that should say 2024, sorry. All of these have been completed. I went through this morning, which is why that is not done. But yes, everything that was presented last year for March is complete. Any questions?
No questions?
No?
Nope. Nope. Also accept a motion since the mayor's here.
I move we adjourn.
Do we have a
Second.
Second. Roll call vote.
Hold on just a second. Okay, Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve?
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approved.
Brian Rogers,
Approve.
Jed Stillman.
Approve.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor. You got the best part. Yeah, Ken was perfect. You were too, since I helped. Well, you always help. He's my little helper.